I'm James Curry. I've lived here in the Pleasant Valley area since 1975. I came here after serving 4 years in the Navy. I went in the Navy in 1971. I got out in December of 1975 as an E5. I then went back into the reserves in 1983 and finished up until 2004. I served a tour in Vietnam, and I finished with Operation Iraqi Freedom in the Persian Gulf in 2003. Morning, Joe.
Hey, Jim. Thanks so much for having me.
Come on in.
Thank you.
Good to see ya.
Good to see you, too. Jim, what was your family's experience with the VA?
So being 50 years old with prostate cancer really was an alarm, so to speak, because not many guys come up with that. So I put in a claim, but it took 4 years for the claim to, well, it was close to 5 years by the time the claim finally got through. My son on the other side, he started his after he came back from Iraq. He was discharged from the Army. He was injured, and he had to they medically retired him. So then the VA took over, and so that began his journey. And he started off in voc rehab, and we ran into problems with that. The person who oversaw him, his caseworker, so to speak, they were constantly, they wouldn't communicate. They wouldn't talk to him. If he contacted him, he wouldn't hear from him. They didn't specify things. They specified things, but they didn't really explain why or certain things. There's restrictions in everything that the VA does. There's always restrictions. But we actually went to Senator Patty Murray's office because of the problems we were running into, and we really didn't get much help there from her. It's just hard when you're a veteran and feel like you can't use something that was established specifically for people who come back with problems from war zones. You get out in the civilian side, they don't understand it. I mean, when I told them I had been exposed to Agent Orange, they didn't know what to do about it. But you would think the VA, with everybody's issues and having the database that they draw upon, that they would be able to help, but they just seem to create more problems with layers and layers of bureaucracy.
What are some issues with the current VA system?
I find that it seems to have too much levels of bureaucracy in it. A lot of guys use it, and if they're just simple issues with their health, they're fine. But those who have complications, that's where they run into problems. My son uses the medical side of it, and that's part of the problem he had. He actually was seeing them, and then they put him in community care, which is something good that's happened. I believe President Trump did quite a bit during his 4 years to make the VA better, but it's back on the slide again. And he was put into community care. Problem is, once he was put into community care, when he went back to the VA, and this is in the neurological department, they told him, "You're seeing somebody outside. There's nothing more we're going to do for you. We gave you community care." I mean, this is actually what happened. They told him they were done with him until, and that was his doctor that he was supposed to use. And you don't understand that. Why would they not want to be involved in something if there's an issue going on? And yet tell the vet, "Well, we got you into community care, so good luck." And then that created its own problems, because if the doctor outside prescribed a drug, the VA didn't want to fill it because it's not their doctor. So that created more layers of like I said, the bureaucracy that's involved, and he would have to get it approved, and then another doctor. So there's just so many layers that it really makes the journey very difficult when you're trying to get yourself, in a decent physical shape.
How did the pistol safety brace ban affect veterans?
So the pistol braced really makes it more accessible or easier to use for somebody who has a disability with one of their arms. And a lot of veterans who've come back have issues when it comes to that. And they're entitled to their Second Amendment right just like everybody else. But to just use blanket say that that they are banned, and it was done through the ATF and not through Congress, that's just unconstitutional there. And then of course, Marie Perez voted to continue that ban on that item, and we're just thankful that it was overturned. But the thing for veterans is, why are you making it more difficult on them to exercise their rights by taking away something that's if it's a law-abiding citizen, that's not your problem. I mean, it's those who abuse it, yes, but don't make the other people suffer who are law-abiding citizens, and don't take away the veterans' opportunity to still have a quality life and to use things just like everybody else can.
What are some ways Congress can help veterans receive quality health care?
Good question, Joe, because I don't think Congress likes to talk. They come out and they talk to us, oh, I'm pro-veteran, I'm pro-military, but when it really comes down to holding the VA accountable for the spending of money, it seems like that never happens. So more money is spent, less services provided. We need Congress to step in and do the actual audits of their books.
What has Marie Perez done to help veterans?
It's hard to say. I know that she said she supports the VA, and then she voted against the full funding of the VA. Now, her explanation was it wasn't enough, but everything was that it fully funded the VA, so I don't understand how she would say one thing, then vote against it. We need Congress to be involved more actively, and that's the thing. I want somebody who goes in there and willing to take a stand and hold these people accountable. I don't see Marie Perez speaking out. You never hear of her speaking out. I mean, yes, she says she supports the veterans, but are you willing to get into the ditches, the trenches, and start really fighting to change the things that will make it better for the veteran?
Jim, thank you so much for letting us into your home and for having this great conversation today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for allowing me to give you my opinion.
Absolutely, thank you. There are thousands of veterans here in Washington's 3rd District. The Chehalis Outpatient Clinic shut down in 2021, forcing rural veterans to make a 5-hour round trip to receive care. Marie Perez voted to defund the VA while voting to keep our troops deployed to Iraq and Syria, where they're currently under enemy fire and taking casualties. She's okay with our troops bleeding on foreign battlefields, but she doesn't want to care for them when they return home. Marie also voted to make law-abiding citizens felons for owning a pistol brace. Many wounded veterans rely on pistol braces to exercise their Second Amendment rights. Marie has consistently voted against the interests of service members and veterans in our district. I will fight to reopen rural VA clinics, fully fund the VA, expand access to TRICARE programs, bring our troops home, and end endless wars. I served our nation for over 20 years in 11 combat deployments. I have firsthand experience navigating the VA system, and I know how to improve it to ensure veterans get the health care they require. Veterans should be able to go to the doctor and clinic of their choice. Thank you to Jim Curry for sitting down with me to talk about veterans issues, and thank you for watching this episode of Get Local with Joe, series where I talk to people in our community about our local issues. You can support my campaign at joekentforcongress.com.